Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. And it's always a great day when we can share the Pirate Broadcast with the community. I want to introduce you to another amazing individual that I have actually known for a number of years. And before we get started, I just want to remind everyone that we're showing up at LinkedIn Local. We're showing up on LinkedIn Live. We're showing up on YouTube. We're showing up on Twitter through Periscope and also Facebook. So wherever you want to watch the Pirate Broadcast, anywhere you want to connect with the community, reach out, make those connections, make sure that you're staying connected with individuals that are going to add value to your day. And also the fact that we're here, we're doing things, we're moving forward, we're making these adjustments, these connections with the community. And if you're not connected to our next guest, you need to be. Hiett has been a Houston native, just like an anchor in the community of networking, building community from events. He's been the guy that you go to if you need somebody to meet at an event. And because of this thing we have going on with the pandemic, live events are, not as common as they used to be. So Hiett, being the entrepreneur that he is, has shifted gears. He's promoting some other things and producing some results in some different areas. And we want to go into that because he's an example of what can be possible and what is possible for others. And I just wanted to set the example with Hiett and share his story and what he's doing and what's going on. And he's the author of That Ain't Not Right. So everybody's twitching in their grammar. That's okay. It's meant to be. So Hiett, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Russ. I'm in fantastic shape. Thank you for having me aboard. I'm now a pirate. I can now say I am a pirate.
You're officially a pirate. You got pirate status now. So thank you so much. And with that pirate status, you know who's going to show up here is our good friend, Ronald Earl Wilshire. Super rock stars.
How did he get himself in here?
The pirates are open to anyone. The pirates are open to anyone. How is Ronald today? Ronald should probably, Ronald and I had the R&R podcast back in the early days when I was working at the radio station. We used to go in the booth and create that. That's probably still out there in the Ethernet, the interwebs, as Ronald would say, out there flying around. So we got that going on. And then Gabriel back in the morning. Gabriel and I were on a live stream last night. He was kind of experimenting with some different technologies. So welcome, Gabriel, to the show. Thank you so much. And Paolo.
I was supposed to be at a coffee with Ronald this morning, so he is honoring you by not having his coffee or having his coffee event with me as the subject matter, or us as the subject matter.
There you go. And then Kathy's here. Good morning, Kathy. Amazing individual is a great description for this guy. Thank you so much. She must know you. Thank you so much for being here, Kathy. And then Angie, good morning, everyone. She's in from Periscope. So that's it from Twitter. Periscope streams over to Twitter. And so, Angie, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. And also, the one thing that we want to talk about, Hiett, is, you've been doing events as long as I've known you. You've been going to live events. You've been bringing in the audience and shifting, collecting individuals' information and helping businesses gain those leads and that information from each client. So now that March came along and things have been changing, talk us through the changes that you're going through right now and what direction you're taking us.
Okay, I'll handle that in two verticals. One, business to business trade shows as we know them or have known them in convention centers, in hotel ballrooms, uh, is non-existent probably through at least the first 6 months or better of the next calendar year. And as such, the need for people like me to help at trade shows would seemingly be gone. Well, what I learned is that my success has been through open-ended questions, teaching my clients how to ask the right open-ended questions, which of course requires the addressee on the trade show floor, the delegate on the trade show floor, to qualify or disqualify themselves.
Yeah.
Well, the trade show business has now gone virtual, and there are actually virtual trade shows where the delegates actually, via their computer, walk into somebody's booth and on their computer screen, and they are given two options. Send me literature, or I want to talk to somebody. And when they
Yeah.
want to say, I want to talk to somebody, it opens up a Zoom link with a live person from that company. Well, guess what? That live person from that company needs to apply the tools and techniques that they use on the trade show floor in that virtual environment. So, what I am teaching people to do is, one, embrace the virtual environment, and then two, adjust how they go after the delegates within that virtual environment. So that's part one, and then part two. Uh, my skills are broader than just the trade show world. I am an author. I've got two books. In fact, one of them is Successful Event Strategies, and the tagline of That Ain't Not Right is the use and abuse of the English language. So I do a lot of editing of corporate B2B literature. And I have the ability to listen to somebody and then put in writing, put what they say in writing to the point that they'll put their name against it. One of my earliest mentors, he was my boss at the time, said, write a letter to this person. And we edited it 2 or 3 times, and I knew this person. And I said, Bill, you've had me do this so many times, you ought to let me sign it. And he gave me these key words. Hiett, the more you can get other people to put their name against something you wrote, the more valuable you are to them.
Yeah. Well, there's a lesson in that. There's a lesson in that, Hiett. And I want to go back to the trade show floor because, a lot of the lessons we learn in life are, through experience, right? And all of those skills, we don't necessarily lose all of those skills, but we transfer them to new experiences. And just like going from the trade floor show to the virtual environment, the skill still exists. You're just transferring that into a new environment and utilizing the best things that are you're using, like being able to translate other people's words into copy and content, and also to actually ask great questions. So those are two skills that anyone can improve on. And if they need assistance, can they work with you to get that?
Yeah, and another element of that, we as a people tend to talk in the first person. I, we, ours, us. We also tend to talk in the past tense. I was this, I did that, she had this, or in the future, I will do this, she will do this. What I do is take things into the second person present tense. Russ, when you choose to do this, here's what's going to happen. So a lot of the copy you read on websites, on blogs, on collateral material is first person. They don't say I, but they say the XYZ company, which is
Yeah.
I. So what I do is put things in second person, present tense with a call to action.
Mm. And that creates the ability for them to own it, the individual that you're speaking to. What's the psychology behind that? What's the power that goes along with that you've
Okay,
discovered?
well, here's the deal. It's all in the wording. You know, if I said to you, Russ, I'm going to teach you something this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Russ, I'm going to teach you something this morning, as opposed to Russ, how interested are you in discovering something about this? How would you respond to this?
Yeah.
Russ, I want to share with you 4 points.
Uh-huh.
Well, they may be the same 4 points that I want to teach you, but you as the receiver, you as the listener, you as the reader, are going to respond a whole lot better when I address you. Russ, it would behoove you to know these 4 points,
Yeah.
as opposed to, hey, I'm going to teach you these things.
Yeah. Hope you listen.
But
Well,
it's the same 4 points,
when you
but
bring me into the conversation, yeah, when you bring me into the conversation, it makes a huge difference, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So how is that developed now that you're going virtual? How has the conversations with your clients and your people that you're reaching out to, how has that evolved? How does that show up in the world today?
Well, by the fact that you are no longer eyeball to eyeball with them and can see their body language and sense their demeanor, it's even more important to ask critical questions. The who, what, when, where, how questions,
Uh-huh.
and by it gets a little more direct, and it requires them to divulge something. Of course, an open-ended question is one that cannot be answered with a yes or no. And we are a yes/no society, and too often, we ask the yes/no question, and when we get the wrong answer,
Yeah.
it's dead. Can I show you my widgets?
No.
In fact, I have to process asking a yes no question. I'm more comfortable asking open ended questions. Yes, what what elements of this situation are most important to you?
Yeah.
When was the last time you used this product? Where in your operations does this fit in? Who on your side of the ledger works most with this? So it's very easy for me, and it literally took me about a year and a half to teach myself to ask open-ended questions. And when I talk about it, somebody will say, "Oh yeah, like," and they'll ask what they think is an open-ended question, and literally 85% of the time, I'll listen to their whole question, and upwards to 85% of the time, I can answer it with a yes or no.
Yeah.
And they think they're asking an open-ended question. So it's a skill that you have to practice and um, implement on an ongoing basis. And quite frankly, I've done it for so long now; it's second nature to me. And in fact, I love editing. And I've taken corporate charters and corporate mission statements that have 3 paragraphs on them, and the real message is buried in the third sentence in the second paragraph, and I will pull that up to the first sentence of the first paragraph, and all of a sudden all of the other stuff fits together.
Yeah.
So it's something I have fun with.
Yeah. Words are a magic thing that you can actually utilize. And a lot of people, myself included, use a lot of words to, talk and fill space. And I was in a meeting one time, I was instructing or teaching a class on safety. And one of the executives said, Russ, cut the embroidery, get to the point. And it's always stuck with me. It's like when you can use fewer words with more clarity, your message will come across it'll be so much more strong. It'll be much, much stronger.
Oh, yes.
And there you go again. It's like stumbling over your words. And it's not easy. It's not always easy. And it does take practice. So that's a great example of how we can improve our Q&A and our ability to understand what other people want is asking open-ended questions and opening the conversation up. I like that. So what are some other techniques that you're using in the virtual space that we can actually adopt?
Well, it's interesting in the when you're on Zoom calls and you've got 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 people. I was on one last night that had 25 people on it. If you want to concentrate on a specific person or get a feel for that, you can watch their actions and reactions to questions. I was on a Zoom call where the host mentioned a skill that I have, and I saw one of the people in the audience light up like a Christmas tree. So I quickly took a note and followed up with them after the fact. When you are observant in the virtual world, people tend to have their guard down. They're not at the poker table.
Right.
They're at their coffee table, and they sometimes forget to put their poker face on or keep their poker face on, and so you can actually glean more about somebody and how they're thinking by watching them answer a question or react to a statement made on a virtual call.
Mm. So just observing that and making that connection at a later date or in the future would be much more productive in a virtual environment overall.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is what we have now. So, and it looks like we're going to have that for some time to come. So let's utilize the skills that we have and apply them to the medium that we've got, knowing that within that medium, most of them are still sitting in their home, in their living room, in their wherever. They're not at their office. They don't have their office face on. They don't have their office, I won't say mentality, but it's they're not sitting at the corporate boardroom table.
Correct.
With that. I've got all of these people in here, and I've got to keep my poker face on here.
I can't show all my cards today.
That's right. Well, they think they're being, non-committal, but just the environment that they're sitting in, I won't say make them vulnerable, but it gives you a better chance to perhaps dig a little deeper and observe a little closer.
Yeah. So the rule is pay attention. Pay attention.
Absolutely.
And I want to pay attention to a few more people because I Eileen is here. She said, "Good morning." And Howard Kaufman, Howard, good morning. Hey, I owe you a phone call today, Howard. What is interesting right now is the economics of a virtual trade show versus having it at a location where trade show floor with the trade show floor is similar to what is happening with the university business model having to move online. Totally. A lot of overhead that is being deleveraged, but how do you justify to the participant that the value is equivalent? That's an excellent question. And I would love to have you share your thoughts on that, Hiett, because when you go someplace, you have to dress up, you have to put your poker face on, you go to the booths and you pretend like you're not interested and when you're really interested, but you don't want to talk to somebody, and Hiett comes up to you and asks you an open-ended question, and pretty soon you're a client. That's a different experience than jumping on a Zoom session and having a cup of coffee in your hand.
Yeah, and for those that have charged for these things in the past, um, that are not charging now, it's maintaining that value added, and getting people to realize that there is a cost in making these things happen. Even a Zoom meeting, and the organization still needs the financial underpinning to move forward. So I think something that's going to evolve here is the associations that have in the past done live lunches. If we have to stay virtual much longer, that was in many cases part of their income, and that's no longer coming in, so they're going to have to charge nominal fees. I am working with one organization that puts on events that literally they charge nothing or a nominal fee on the front end, and said at the end, give what you feel this event has give the value that you think this event has given to you. And in many cases that they've used this approach, they've actually gotten more donations, more support on the back end than they would have had they charged a flat fee.
So that's a model that people can attempt and
Yes.
Invest in some quality content, share it out, and ask for people to place their value on it.
Yeah, and this particular operation, out of Seattle, that shows you how to word that and how to approach that to get the people who have been used to doing it inside the box to think outside of the box, and not only think outside of the box, but react positively outside of the box and actually support the cause or the operation or the function more than they would have had they been asked to give a flat fee and come to the event.
I like that. I want to ask one question that I think is one of the challenges of the virtual events is, there's this term being, dropped around on social media now is Zoom fatigue. And, I've been doing this almost a year now, 5 days a week, showing up. And it's interesting to watch it evolve, because I don't pitch anything on this pirate broadcast, and I don't necessarily, sell. I'm not here. I don't have sponsors. I don't have anything else. However, people do get tired of sitting in front of a Zoom session for extended periods of time. So how do we break it up to keep it interesting, keep it lively, keep a virtual event going over, and making sure that people are interested in attending? Is there something that you've learned along the way in this journey in the last 6 months that have allowed you to kind of see how to use language and how to use the message to make sure people attend and are excited about showing up on your events?
I'll use my Toastmaster. I've been a Toastmaster longer than most of my audience here this morning has been on the face of the earth. Uh, but tomorrow morning at 6:45 a.m. Houston time, I will join a Zoom call of approximately 20 people, and we do a Toastmasters meeting just like we do it live. When you follow the sequence as people know it, we have three speakers, we have three evaluators, we have table topics, we have the awards, and it's over. And it's in the same time frame. Now, would we enjoy being, with each other, and hopefully sometime in the foreseeable future that will happen. But I guess my answer is, if the more you can keep it as it was, the more likely they are to continue to come back and continue to be a part of it.
What about consistency? Is consistency, like you said, you're showing up every week, you're doing the same group, you're doing the same process, so it's very familiar to people. And people like familiar. I have to agree. I have to believe. I mean,
oh yeah,
okay,
yeah, consistency. Yeah, consistency and keeping it as close to what they remember, and then you're going to have to circle back around. One group, Christian Business Fellowship here in Houston, we have now gone back to live meetings, and getting people literally off of their couches and driving the 20 minutes, 30 minutes to the event, that they were able to tune into 5 minutes before it starts for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
We may have to rebuild and of course there are still a percentage of the audience out there that is still fearful of getting out and refuse to get out. So we're going to have an evolution here.
Yeah.
Just about the time we get used to doing it a different way, we're going to have to figure out how to reintegrate to what we used to do, because quite frankly, that's, I think, what we all want. We are communal people. We are people that enjoy each other's company, and we will stay forced apart for a period long enough to achieve the goal. But once it's achieved, hey, let's get back to where it used to be.
Yeah. Well, we are people. We are a community that likes community. So it's absolutely true. I just wanted to give a shout out to Kathy, a couple of other people here in the room. Sarathi, it's about how it's said. One, ego and superego. Ivan Pavlov versus Erik Erikson. Humanistic therapy. Carl Rogerson. Rogerian. REBT also has involvement. Gestalt is about different, so added here. Rhett is suited. I'm not exactly familiar with all of those, Sarathi, but I appreciate you bringing that to the table. Rational emotive behavioral therapy is also different. So, and David Mumford, good morning, Pirates. I saw you on Gabriel's couple of shows around yesterday. Thank you so much for dropping in. And Sarathi, hi, David. Good morning. And this is the thing about the pirate broadcast. These people are connected. People have made friendships through here. And Sherry, most times the audience faces the presenter, so seeing cues is limited to the back of their heads. This is a great example of ways to observe opportunities. I love that. I love coming in and bringing that to the table, Sherry. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Kathy Spooner says good morning. And then also Ed Stevens, new follower here. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate that. And then Slap Tags is here. I'm rethinking hunting for construction safety virtual events. There you go. Now we got that going on. And then Wendy, she's up in Seattle today. Good morning. Thank you so much, Wendy. Appreciate that. And then Sarathi is, I'm noticing a lot of post-COVID changes in interviews behavior more than the guy who is being recruited is the guy who recruits, just like Philip and Stanford prison experiment. It's just a thought. Maybe you can change with time. Guess the way we reflect and react to questions and answers matters is not always PMP or management view. The questionnaire way for improvement too. Employers need the job done, but they're here in India. They want to just capture what's in it for me. So, and then he cuts off. But the point I think he's trying to say, Hiett, is, we have to start reaching out. And like you said, ask open-ended questions that bring them in there, and allow people to enter the conversation, not be excluded from the conversation or just answer yes or no.
Well, and that's where I've developed a TED Talk, a presentation, a keynote address. The 5 open-ended questions: who, what, when, where, how. Who, what, when, where, how. And when you use any one of those 5, you're going to be a whole lot. And then listen to ask the question, and then listen. You're going to be a whole lot way ahead of the curve, and that's in a personal relationship, in sales relationship, in trade show relationship. So I am applying those 5 points, and I talk about how to use them and where to use them and so on. So I am sharpening my pencil. I'm honing my presentation to make it more applicable. Yes, open-ended questions, and within that broader context, these 5 open-ended questions, and within that 5, the 3, who's going to do what by when? When you ask those 3 and get the answers to who's going to do what by when, I won't say you've got it made, but you're way far ahead of the game.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Hiett. I really appreciate you joining me, and it's amazing to reconnect.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here on the Pirate Broadcast and becoming a pirate in the pirate community. You're now officially a pirate. So if you're not connected to Hiett, please connect with Hiett, reach out, start a conversation. If any of this interests you, or you have a virtual event that you need assistance with or support with, I know Hiett, you probably have a couple of things that you can share with them. And where do people find you?
Hiett at HiettIves.com, and it's it sounds like the hotel, but it's HIETT at HIETTIVES.com, or 832-372-6900. That's 832-372-6900.
Well, thank you, everyone. As always, kindness is cool, smiles are free, and you enjoy the day. Take care, everyone. Thanks, Hiett.
Thanks, Russ.
Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.